For over the past 20 years, my husband and I have worked to create a garden retreat in southeast Michigan. It was filled with beautiful plants and flowers, and the trees were established. And then we left it all behind for this. What were we thinking? Hi friends, it's Sue from Garden Moxie. It's been a while since I've posted here on YouTube, and I'm happy to be back. So roughly 6 months ago, I had what I thought was the perfect garden. And it was something that my husband and I have worked at for over 20 years. Our little southeast Michigan garden became an amazing space. It was a place that I loved to sit on the patio and have my coffee and walk through the garden and just listen to the birds and watch all the animals. That garden became so much more than just plants and paths. It was a place that I hid from the stress of the daily grind. And it's where I learned that gardening is really just an excuse to get outside and spend some time in nature. And when life got crazy, I'd step out into that space and immediately I felt better. I had a routine and I loved it. But here's the thing about gardens. They teach you some tough lessons along the way, along with beautiful ones. Sometimes the things that we love most are the things that we leave behind. And when my husband and I had a chance to build our dream home in Kentucky, I knew it was going to be an exciting move. And I'm so excited to be here. But I also knew that saying goodbye to my garden of over 20 years was going to be hard. And it is. The last walk through my Michigan garden was tougher than I actually expected. And I found myself looking at everything and wishing I could take all those plants with me. But that just wasn't possible. Then we got to Kentucky. And let me show you what our new garden reality looks like. Here's a look at our new garden. This is what the property looked like when we walked in on the first day. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a bit rough. I mean, just look at this place. It's basically a blank slate, which sounds exciting in theory, but in reality, it's a lot to take in. There's no flower beds. There's no structure, and there's really not much character here in this garden. Just grass and a lot of weeds and a few random shrubs that have seen their better days. And the fact that we're living in this house for only a couple of years while we build our actual home presents some unique challenges too. We want to create a beautiful space because 2 years is a long time and you never know what the future holds. That said, it's also going to be important not to waste money. And while in the beginning I was feeling a little bit discouraged, this is what I remember. Every single beautiful garden that I've ever visited started exactly like this. They're not always beautiful, but they become beautiful. And with somebody standing in an empty space wondering what the heck they're going to do with all of this, the difference between a beginning gardener and an experienced one isn't that we have all the answers. It's that we've learned to get comfortable with not knowing and just starting anyway. So this week I wanted to share what the property looks like and what my approach is going to be to handling this new temporary space that's a completely blank slate. So the first thing that I did was I just walked around to see what kind of plant material I was working with in this new garden and what kind of things needed to be done right away. There was a dead tree that needed to be removed, and then as I was looking, there were shrubs that needed to be removed, but my biggest surprise and delight was finding this Japanese maple tree at the bottom of the property. I'm not sure what variety of tree this actually is, but this tree is absolutely beautiful and will be a wonderful addition to the new garden. As far as the structure of the garden is concerned, the very first things that I want to do are to create 2 inexpensive paths that lead along the side yard into the back garden area, very similar to what I had in our southeast Michigan garden. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference a good path makes to adding structure to your garden. It's kind of like putting a frame around a painting. Suddenly, everything looks more intentional. And I'm also going to begin with cleaning up what's already here. There were quite a few shrubs in the back of the property that really were in terrible shape and needed to be removed. along with a dead tree in the middle of the garden. So I'm trimming up the trees and just kind of cleaning up the brush for right now. Our plan is to add a privacy fence, and until that's done, I'm just going to kind of leave the backyard in the way that it is. I've decided that the starting point is going to be our patio and trying to create a tiny little sanctuary right there outside of the back door. The great thing about the patio is that I can create container gardens that can easily move to our new home when we're going to move in a couple of years. And that seems like a wise way to spend money, in my opinion. My husband had the patio power washed before we arrived, and he also checked the structure of the wood, and everything is in great shape. There's a few decorative elements that need to be replaced, but nothing major. I actually love the patio space. My husband Tom set up our fountain yesterday, and now we have the peaceful sound of water. And here's the thing about budget gardening that I almost forgot. It actually makes you a little bit more creative. When you can't just buy your way to a solution, you have to think a little bit harder and look for deals and maybe even make friends with neighbors that are dividing plants. And some of my best garden finds have come from thrift shops and end-of-season garden sales. The best gardens aren't built in a season or even a year. They're built slowly, thoughtfully, and it requires patience and creativity, and sometimes, like now, a really tight budget. They're built by people who are willing to start where they are, with what they have, and trust that small steps add up to something magical over time. So I hope that you'll join me this season as we prove that you don't need unlimited funds or perfect timing or even your own permanent home to create a beautiful garden. You just need a willingness to begin and the belief that every beautiful garden starts with someone brave enough to take that first step. So tell me in the comments, have you ever had to start a garden from scratch? And what were your biggest challenges? And how did you overcome them? So I'm excited about this new adventure. Thanks so much for being here. That's it for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.